And that's the difference.
Yep.
So in critical times, Damian Lillard knows when to pull back, when to initiate the offense, when to give it up, now when to go for mine. Russell is just going to come at you full steam ahead because that's been his mentality since when he was at UCLA playing the two guard, and now his time in the league. So when we compare point guard and the mentality a lot of times, we got to keep in mind Westbrook is a little bit different from that perspective because he's not your prototypical point guard from the mindset.
To your point of the other guys or the role players in that sense having a big game, Mo Harkless, 15 points, 10 rebounds. And those 10 rebounds, a lot of them were noticeable in the sense that he'd grab it and get the ball past half court and initiate the offense through Damian Lillard or CJ McCollum. Look, something we have to point out with this Portland Trailblazers group, particularly Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum as a nucleus, they came into this one with 8 straight playoff road losses, just 1-17 in their last 18 road playoff games. When you win one like this, you know that stat is something they are aware of. Does this get that monkey off of your back if you're looking to progress later rounds?
It does, but they have so much more to prove. It kind of like Toronto in the playoffs where during the regular season you say, okay, we know Toronto's good, but what's going to happen when they get into the playoffs? We know Portland is good right now, but what happens when they get into the playoffs? Because of what happened last year in the first round, them getting bounced early, they came in with a chip on their shoulder. But again, they matured a lot more, and now it's not just Lillard and McCollum trying to do everything. They allow those role players.
Absolutely.
And you talked about this. Getting Cantor as a person that understands how to play the game was huge for them.
Huge. And again, man, you just look at this Portland team, and what's been the quiet whisper in Portland? Is it time to break up CJ and Dame? Yep. That's been the quiet whisper. And so if you're Damian Lillard and you're CJ McCollum, you understand if you want to keep this thing together, you got to get out of this first round. You got to advance because at a certain point, the definition of sanity is keep doing the same thing. And you cannot keep having this small backcourt and not having wins in the playoffs. And so this series right here, if they go on to win this series like we think, this is going to be huge for keeping those two guys together. Now you're sitting there saying, okay, now we're starting to add the right pieces. Maybe we're just one key free agent away from getting us over the top. Because think about it. Golden State, as good as they look, they've still been looking vulnerable this year. They don't look like that unbeatable team. And then coming off last year, look, man, Houston had them down until Chris Paul got hurt. Right. So if you're Portland, you're seeing this, and Damian Lillard has some great games. You're saying we're one guy away. And right now, Golden State after this year may be in some type of influx. We're one player away from possibly being the best team in the West.
Well, let me take a step further this real quick. Think about the mindset. You never want to look ahead in regards to what the playoffs may present, but look at the path they have to kind of get to a Western Conference final. Yeah. Because now what happened with Houston sliding back, Houston and Golden State, if they get through and do what they got to do, that's second round. Portland on that other side doesn't have to go through that gauntlet.
Nope.
Okay,
so it's either Denver or San Antonio.
It's either Denver or which teams that they can match up well against. So for them, they're looking at this as a primetime opportunity.
Perfect.
Let's get through this without any scars and get ourselves prepared for the next opponent that possibly can get us to a Western Conference final.
Should we give a lot more credit to Terry Stotts as well? A lot of times in the situation, look, Nurkic found his role on this team. It seemed like, he's the X factor. When he gets it going, they have their guy inside. With possible catastrophic injury for them, that doesn't seem to be the case.
But listen, I'm going to give credit to two parts, and Sam can chime in on this. One, management for making the right moves, getting the right players in there. Second, for Terry Stotts, realizing and understanding who his personnel is and what kind of offense he wants to run. And third, and most important, is the leadership of Damian Lillard, okay? Because it's so important that your best player is your best leader at times in regards to what he does on and off the court. And him making the commitment to be the best player that he can be team-wise has spread all across the board.
You know that if you can coach your best players, it's easy. If you can coach Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum, everybody else going to fall in line like soldiers. They don't have a choice. If I can coach those two guys, so Terry Stotts understands that he's got the best of both worlds. He's got two stars that are coachable, that plays within the system, and yet they understand that, hey, they're going to get the majority of the shots, but they understand they still have to share the ball, they still have to play defense, and they still have to be accountable not only to themselves but their teammates.
There were two crucial points in this game as far as the Oklahoma City Thunder. They were ahead 7 with 2 minutes to go in the second quarter, rather. And then Portland ended the first half on an 11-0 run. Then it seemed as if, okay, OKC's right back in it. And then it was Portland going on a 17-3 run in that third period. When you have moments like that in a game, sense of urgency, did you feel as if Portland understood the moment a little bit more than OKC tonight?
Well, just think about it. Going back to that stretch, you watch OKC on offense. They was coming down 1 pass shot, 2 passes shot, dribble down shot. The ball wasn't moving. They weren't getting multiple touches. But then you come back and look at Portland. Damian Lillard comes off screen, hits the guy pick and roll, layup, or hits the guy in the pick and roll, he swings to the corner for a wide open 3. He comes off right now. The ball kept moving. So everyone was involved. And again, I'm going to go back to this. Larry Brown used to say this all the time. When you let everybody touch the ball, they become better players. Mm-hmm.
Here's head coach of those Portland Trailblazers, Terry Stotts.
Coach Jason Quick with The Athletic. Can you explain just to everyone how important Al Farouk is to your guys' team?
He does it every night. Sometimes he scores, sometimes he doesn't, but he gives a great effort every night. We ask him to do a lot of things at the defensive end, to rebound. He's probably a better shooter than people give him credit for. And, he's been an important part of our team since he's been here.
Kerry Eggers, Portland Tribune. Terry, you've held them below 100 in 3 of the 4 games. How important was the defense tonight and in the series?
You got to win at both ends. I mean, you got, if you can play good offense, obviously that's great. But I thought Mo Harkless was really good defensively. He's been good defensively throughout the series. He's been on Paul George most of the series. I think he's been given a lot of attention. I thought Ennis's interior defense has been very good. Both he and Zach did a nice job protecting the paint, protecting the rim. I thought our pick and roll defense was where it needed to be. We got sucked in too many threes, but I think up and down the roster, it's we're locked in on what we want to do coverage-wise, and we're giving good effort. So we need one more game like that.
Over here, AJ McCord, CBS Portland. Coach, even though the scoring for Dame wasn't there as much in the first half, he was making a lot of those extra passes to get you guys big open looks. How important was that extra pass tonight to get the open look?
You can never underestimate the passing. And, I think Kerry asked me before the game about assists, and we only had 16 assists. But we're relying on Dame and CJ to do a lot off the dribble. You look at what Damian did in the second half. Obviously he struggled shooting the ball early in the game, but he just keeps coming at you. And he made some big shots in the second half. I think he had 15 in the third quarter, but some tough threes. So it was, we rely on him to do a lot.
Coach, Brady Trantham, franchise OKC. Apparently Gametime is around the third quarter in the series, but what can you say about his ability just to stay the course, remain focused, and then when you guys really need it, just give you guys that scoring punch?
Well, we've kind of come to expect it. He's, I think he manages the game. I think he senses the moment when we need him to do different things. He's an ultimate competitor. However the game is going, if it's going well, if it's going not so well, he's gonna give it his all. And a lot of times that's with his scoring, but I think his leadership, his passing, the way he directs the team, the example he sets, all that.
Terry, Dwight James, NBC Sports Northwest. How tough is that decision at the start of the fourth quarter to sit Dame for a few minutes? Do you think about just letting him ride?
Tonight it was close. The way the third quarter ended, felt like he needed a blow. The way we were kind of rolling there, and if we'd kept rolling, probably would have left him in. But it was, especially in playoff game where you can, ramp the minutes up a little bit, it was definitely a thought to leave him in.
Terry, Joe Freeman with the Oregonian. In light of everything that happened in Game 3, how impressed were you with your guys to just stay mentally strong and demeanor-wise, how they responded in this game?
To be honest, I liked our demeanor in the third game, but we're very businesslike. We took care of our business. I think, as I told the team, we have to be concerned about us, and I thought we played the way we needed to play, and there really wasn't a lot, as we talked about yesterday, any of the peripheral stuff. I thought both teams really focused on the basketball game, and I thought it was well officiated. Both teams played hard, Rashid. It was... I liked the way we approached the game throughout.
You're up 3-1, 1 to go, Terry. How do you feel going into Game 5?
Same way it felt going into Game 4. It's going to be tough. Closeout games are always tough. It's good that we're back home, but that doesn't guarantee anything. But we've been very focused on what we need to do, and we need to have that on Tuesday.
Any other questions? Thanks, Coach.
All right, thanks.
So Portland has that 3-1 series lead. Here's how they got there. Russell Westbrook, well, he came out finding his shot. Sam, don't get used to it. Westbrook, 8 points in the first quarter, and if you saw this, you thought, okay, he's in rhythm, he's good to go.
But you know what, and Jimmy knows this, sometimes for a guy like Westbrook, you want him to make his first couple of threes.
Why?
Because he's going to keep shooting.
Well, that's exactly what happened. Meanwhile, how about the hand in the passing lane and Chief running the floor, finishing. Al-Farouq Aminu, and one. You know, Dennis Schroeder has been big in key moments for the Thunder throughout the year.
Yeah, and maybe what they need to do, Jimmy, is start playing more, change the lineup a little bit, put Schroeder, Westbrook, and have Paul George out there, play them more minutes together, because Dennis Schroeder does provide a matchup problem for OKC.
Mm-hmm. Damian Lillard struggling a bit. You saw the errant pass and then the brick from deep. Oh, but that didn't last long. Westbrook on the other end, still having a good game. Mid-range is good.
But I'm okay with that, Chris.
Then Westbrook again. Where's he shooting from, Sam?
Well, he's shooting from the three. And again, what are you noticing? No one else is touching the ball right now.
Now, you see that score, 46-39, part of an 11-2 OKC run, and you see it now. The knockdown three from Al-Farouq Aminu caps an 11-0 run to end the first half for Portland. Here's Adam Silver checking things out, and it became Dame time in that third quarter.
Deep. I can't see that far anymore. That's deep.
Put them glasses on.
Hey, it all looks good to me with the glasses on or off.
You know, he had 25 in the third quarter last game, 15 in the third quarter in this one. Finished the game with 24 points and 8 assists. Meanwhile, on the other end, Russell Westbrook turned into West Brick.
Mm-hmm. Those same shots he made early, late game situations later in the second half couldn't make it. But back to Dame, when you know that you're going to touch the ball and be involved in the offense, you don't have to force anything because it always comes back to you. You just have to be patient.
Again, just 1 point in the second half for Westbrook. Paul George finding his rhythm, 8-0 run to end the third quarter for OKC.
Tough shot for CJ McCollum.
Tough shot maker, baby.
You heard Terry Stotts say it. He sat Damian Lillard to start that fourth quarter. You needed someone else. McCollum. And then how about the workout inside from Al-Farouq Aminu?
With the defense here.
And we use the term sometimes, those other guys, because we know Dame is the star, but CJ, Al-Farouq Aminu, carrying that momentum, building that lead up to 13. OKC not done yet. Dennis Schroeder, like I said.
Well, no one's going to put it at home, especially when you're looking at going down 3-1. You just got to give it everything you have at home.
There's Jeremy Grant, 7-point game with 1.5 minutes to go, but watch this dime from Dame.
And once again, trusting his teammate, not having to force a situation because, again, the trust is there with that backcourt in Portland.
The excellent for Easter paint, body paint.
You just kind of knew
fans.
that Portland was going to win when they ended up being ahead at halftime. Mm-hmm. You just knew that.
Here's Billy Donovan, head coach, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Well, I thought in the first half we weathered the storm a little bit with Paul picking up fouls. We really didn't close the half very well. Kind of gave them maybe some momentum going into the locker room. And then I thought in the third quarter we struggled offensively and tried to put some different guys out there, different lineups out there. In the fourth, I thought those guys played hard, competed, tried to get back in the game. Obviously, we're down 3-1. All we can really do right now is, watch the film, try to make some corrections and adjustments, and get ready for Game 5. I mean, that's really all we can do. So, we've got to go up there and we've got to obviously play better on both ends of the floor. And I thought our guys defensively gave really, really good effort there. We fouled obviously late. Which kind of skewed it, but I thought defensively we worked pretty good. Neither team, I didn't think, shot a great percentage, from the field. I thought for us, we did not finish around the basket very well tonight. I thought we had a lot of stuff in around the rim, and I thought that was obviously a big factor in the game. Our inability to kind of cash in on some plays around the basket.
Eric Horney, Oklahoma. Billy, you talk about touching the paint, guys get into the paint in order to open up, the perimeter. In that third quarter, I think y'all took a lot of jump shots. I think Dennis might have hit a floater, and that might have been y'all's first points in the paint, and it was pretty deep into the third. Why was it that there were so many jump shots going up in the third quarter when y'all have success when you touch the paint and get those perimeter shots?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have to look at the film. My feeling was we're actually going downhill and there was help and we kicked the ball back out there. I think there was some threes that we took that may have been quick, but I thought for the most part we tried to play downhill. We tried to play at the basket. We tried to go to the rim. When they shut things off, I thought we did a good job of making the extra pass, and I thought we generated some really better shots there in the second half, from behind the line.
Royce Young, ESPN. Billy, Russ's second half, he had 1 point on 0 of 7 shooting. What did you see from him? Did you think he was maybe overpassing? Was he finding the right guys? Was he making the right plays? How did you assess his second half?
Well, I think we didn't close the second quarter very well. I felt like he made a really, really concerted effort to really try to move the basketball and try to find guys and get guys shots. I thought he got guys some shots. I thought we had a lot of quote unquote pocket passes to the rim. One of the things was playing in pick and roll, and at times they played in the drop against certain guys they're up on. But when we got the ball to the basket, into the pocket, I just didn't think we finished a lot of plays around it. And I think when he did get downhill and they shut him off, I thought he found guys for open shots.
Billy's Brett Dawson with The Athletic. You went small at the end. You had Jeremy more or less at the 5 without Steven out there. What were you trying to get going with that group, and what did you think of that look?
Well, we were down. I thought we needed to do something a little bit different. Lillard and McCollum, in my opinion, I thought we defended, as hard as you can. I thought they made a lot of tough mid-range pull-ups, which speaks to their shot-making ability. We had a couple of breakdowns on some coverages, pick and roll-wise, where we gave both of them a couple threes there in the third. That's going to happen sometimes. We got a little bit loose because those guys are kind of shifty and crafty with the ball. But I thought defensively we worked on those guys, but those guys obviously in certain situations I thought really made shots.
Yeah, Billy, Barry Trammell with the Oklahoman. You kept Lillard without a basket until I think the 1:12 mark of the second quarter. At halftime, were you concerned that keeping him held down and they have a lead on you?
Yeah, because I think the same thing happened in Game 3. He and McCollum didn't really have much, and I felt like, and I mentioned it to our guys at halftime, that he was going to go out and be more aggressive just based on what happened in Game 3. And we had a couple of coverages that got kind of, we didn't get the ball directed where it needed to go, and he came off some screens and made some shots. There were some times we got him where we wanted to get him, into the mid-range, and to his credit, he stepped back and made a few of those shots. I think we got McCollum off the line, the three-point line at times, and he stepped back and made some tough ones too. Those guys shot the ball from behind the line really, really efficiently, and they shot the ball well inside the line really efficiently. Actually, when we had, I thought, Lillard going to the rim there in the end of the third, the fourth quarter, we did a good job pulling over and providing some help.
Brady Trantham, franchise OKC coach. It's the third game in a row that you guys got off to a really promising start. Then Portland was able to make it interesting and eventually regain control in the middle part of the game. Has there been a consistent theme with the offensive and defensive lapses in the middle of these games?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's necessarily a theme. I think for us, when we at times struggle to score, struggle to make shots, sometimes it gets magnified, when you have a little bit of a defensive breakdown, And I think if you look at early in the game, to your point of getting off to a good start, you get off to a good start because you're getting some stops and then you're making some shots. And I think, when you score 22 points in a quarter, and I think it was maybe 2 quarters in a row, the second and the third, 22 points, what's going to happen is when you're not making shots, it's going to kind of really, really expose, when you break down defensively, where you maybe had some breakdowns there in that first quarter, but maybe it doesn't look as bad because you're scoring back at them. And I think that's what happened there to close the second. Because I think we were up by 7 there, and we had an opportunity to kind of close it out, and maybe not up 7, but, certainly have the lead. And we didn't close great. And then I thought the third quarter to start, Paul tried, I think, get right back into rhythm, just sitting out as much as he did. He had some looks, had some opportunities. And I thought we had some opportunities as a team. We didn't really capitalize it. And then I thought McCollum and Lillard made some shots in that corner, which kind of really extended their lead.
Eric Horn with the Oklahoman. Billy, you often mention guys not being able to control if the ball goes in the basket. But, Damian Lillard and these guys, when they get those opportunities in transition, I mean, they could be really deadly and make shots. So when Russell, comes down and takes a pull-up jump shot, granted it's open, but if he takes a pull-up jump shot and misses it, Damian Lillard gets out in transition. Is that the kind of shot you want Russell to take in those instances in the third quarter?
Well, I'd have to see the exact shots you're talking about. Certainly for Russell, playing downhill, playing at the rim is what you want him to do. That's where obviously he really opens up a lot of different things. But at the same point too, he's got to read the game. He's got to read the game and make decisions. If guys are off of him and he feels like he's in rhythm to shoot the basketball, certainly you want him to shoot the ball. So I don't know necessarily the specific play you're talking about, but a lot of times when the ball gets to the deep paint and it's kicked out, you're generating shots. Sometimes on the break, he and Paul, when defenders try to control them off the dribble, there's opportunities to pull up.
Billy, Maddie Lee from the Oklahoman, sticking with their transition threes. McCollum taking a few of those in pretty key situations in the fourth. How did you feel like you guys did scrambling back in those tough situations?
I thought we scrambled back well on the ball. I thought our bigs at times, or guys that were guarding their bigs, were not where they needed to be, and it kind of sprung them off some screens, and they were able to make some shots. We could have done a better job there. There was a couple of times where, like I said, we were in some coverages, and we didn't get the coverage and the ball under control like we needed it to, and those guys just need a crack. I mean, listen, the two of them are great shooters, and when those guys get any crack or space, I think you're probably surprised when the ball doesn't go in, and there were some shots that both those guys missed that they probably wished they maybe had back or felt like they should have knocked down. And then there were some times we really defended them well, and they still made shots. So, they made a lot of mid-range. They made a lot of threes. They were efficient from the 3-point line, and some of that, to your point, was in transition.